Peace be with you. Dear friends, welcome to Living Flame Daily Gospel Reflections for Friday in the first week of Lent. Gospel according to Matthew chapter 5 verses 20 to 26. Jesus went up the mountain, and after he sat down, his disciples came to him and he taught them. The most important thing Jesus said, I tell you, unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and Pharisees, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. What is this righteousness of the Pharisees and scribes? Of course, they were righteous because they were following the law to the point, to the letter, and consequently, they were right. Now, just imagine in our society, if someone is observing the laws perfectly, we can call him externally a perfect man. But how does he observe the law? Most probably in his heart or in his mind, he blames all the situations. But then he externally observes everything perfectly. But what Jesus wants is a change of heart. And that's why Jesus very clearly mentions here that our righteousness must exceed that of the Pharisees and scribes. And then Jesus continues to say, you have heard that it was said to those of ancient times, you shall not murder, and whoever murders shall be liable to judgment. Of course, if someone murders someone else, then he is liable to judgment. But I say to you that if you are angry with a brother or sister, you will be liable to judgment. And if you insult a brother or sister, you will be liable to the council. And if you say, you fool, you will be liable to the hell of fire. And that's a very clear teaching by Jesus. That means he strikes the very core of our heart, that our life should not be just a show to others, but it should spring from within. And that's why Jesus goes right to the heart to rectify our motivations, our intentions, and our desires. That is, what is there in our will. Then Jesus continues, so when you are offering your gift at the altar, if you remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go. First be reconciled to your brother or sister, and then come and offer your gift. Offering a sacrifice, that is to show that you are right with God, that you want to surrender yourself to God. But then before that, if you remember that you have something against your brother or sister, Jesus very clearly says that your sacrifice is not going to be accepted. Your sacrifice worth nothing before God. First, you have to sacrifice yourself, getting reconciled with your brother or sister, and then come and offer that sacrifice. Then that will be pleasing to God. Jesus teaches the disciples on the mountain some leadership principles. He even gets into the law and how it's important for a disciple of Christ to settle legal matters quickly and out of court. He says it's not so much about the legal matters as it is about the relationship you have with the person. The principle of settling disputes quickly has to do with being reconciled with your brother or sister. So that's very important. Relationship is first, and then you can build relationship with God. Of course, both go hand in hand. Jesus actually goes beyond the legal matters again. The case you have against someone is not as important as the relationship you have with them. Jesus emphasizes that the relationship is always more important. I mean, relationship with one another and with God. So ultimately, it is a question of being right before God and right before one another. That all boils down to that fundamental commandment. Love your God with all your heart, with all your soul and mind, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. That's why this whole gospel of Matthew, in these 6 to 7 verses, we find the essence of the teaching of Christ. Ultimately, It is love of God and love of neighbor. And Jesus teaches us very clearly how we can settle matters with God and settle matters with our neighbor. But if we are not capable of settling matters with the one whom you see, with whom you live, you won't be able to have that deep relationship with God. So that is the essence of this gospel today. God bless you.